Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be showing you guys how to get real-time options data in bulk using the TD Ameritrade API. Here are some of the packages we're going to require. I'm going to set up a new environment and assign my API key so that we can make requests. I'm also going to read in my refresher token. I actually made a tutorial on how to get these tokens, and I'll go ahead and recommend that video at the end of this one. But essentially all this is just a list that contains my keys, which is my access token and refresher token. In order to get this script to work, I just need my refresher token to request a new access token. This will allow us to make real-time requests. So in order to get a new access token, I have built a function called getAccessToken in which we just pass in our refresher token and our API key. And within this function, I go ahead and build a list that passes in our refresher token and our API key. We put that in the body of this post request, extract the contents, and get our access token. So I'll go ahead and minimize this and run it. Now I'm just going to assign a couple of tickers in order to test this. And if any of the tickers contain a dash, I'm just going to replace that with a period. Now to get real-time options data, we just need to pass in our ticker and our refresher token. And within this function, we need to build a URL by passing in our API key and the ticker we're requesting. In this instance, I just want to get all options for all expirations. We're going to read that URL by using read JSON. So let's go through an example. I'm going to try and read in Tesla options. So first we need to build a URL, and then we're going to read JSON. And if we take a look at our raw data, we are able to get options. But if we take a look at this flag that says if this data is delayed, this is set to true. Now we need to go through some additional steps to make sure that this flag gets returned as false. So within that same function, we test if that variable is delayed. If it is, then we need to use our getAccessToken by passing in our refresher token here and our API key, and that's going to return a new access token. We're going to format that token and pass it as a header into this get request, and we're using the same URL. So let's go ahead and run these lines. Now if we take a look at raw data, this flag is now set to false, which means that the data we got is real-time options data, and all of our options are saved in these last two elements. So now we need to go ahead and format these options. But first we need to go ahead and minimize this function and run it. This next line is optional. I'm just sorting the tickers A through Z. We're going to make sure that this function works by requesting Berkshire options and also passing in our token. So let's go ahead and run this line. Now we check if the data we got back is delayed, or we can just manually check OC. So here we see that the symbol is Berkshire Hathaway. The is delayed flag returned as false. And we also see that we got some elements here with options. So the function seems to be working. Now let's go to the next step. So now I'm going to use this lapply to pass in the length of tickers as a list. And we're going to use our real-time options chains function to request options data for all the tickers. And I wrap this in a try function so that if we do encounter some errors, it'll skip through that element and only return the symbols that we got data for. So I'll go ahead and run this. If we did encounter some errors, we would have an element in OC1 return as null. So to get rid of all the nulls, I'm going to run this line, which searches all the elements within that list that have a length greater than 0. So in this instance, I don't think we have any errors. And we can verify that by taking a look at OC all. So we see 4 elements here for all the 4 tickers we have assigned. And now we need to extract all the options data that are within these elements. So the next function will take care of that, which is called OC to DF, essentially converting these as data frames. So within this function, we need to pass in each element in the list, and it'll go ahead and convert these into data frames. So we search for our call expiration map and our put expiration map within that list or that element. We extract all the calls and all the puts, and we do a bit of formatting on the timestamps. And I also want to add some stock information, which may be useful if you're pricing the options or if you just want some information regarding the underlying stock. So after we format everything, it'll just return that table. So let's go ahead and minimize this function. I'm going to go ahead and run it. But before we apply it to our list, I'm going to go ahead and test the function. So here I'm just going to request some Apple options and use the function we just built to convert this as a data frame. And we can go ahead and take a look at that table. So now we have a nice data frame with all of our options. We have 63 columns and 1,800 different options. And if we close this out, we can subset and view by option type and strike price. So here I'm just going to subset all the calls that have a strike price of 170. So it returned 18 different rows, 63 different columns, and all of these are showing a 170 call. So depending on what you're doing with these options, you can very easily and quickly subset the options you need. So now let's go ahead and apply that function to our list. So again, we're going to pass in 1 through the length of OC_all, and we're going to step in through these elements in the list and extract all the options. So let's go ahead and run this block. Once we have all of our options, we can go ahead and use our bind list to return a single table for all of the options. And if we take a look at that table, we have 14,000 different entries, 63 different columns, which contains all the real-time options for the tickers we passed in. So if we scroll to about the middle of this table, we should now see a different ticker. So again, you could very easily and quickly subset to the options that you need. Well guys, this concludes the video. I'll go ahead and leave a link down in the description area to my Patreon where you can find the script. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.